Hello, everybody. Let me figure out how to turn the camera on here. Let's see. Camera. Give me a second. Where the heck's where do I turn my camera on?
On the bottom.
Oh, that one right here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I see it. Hey, everybody. Guess I gotta sit up close here. And this thing's in my way. What the heck? Hello, everybody. If I hope to get some people in here, and I hope we get some people who have opposing views about the Karen Reed case. But I'm pretty sure. I think a lot of you are agreeing with the not guilty verdict.
No, snow remover isn't.
Okay, well that's not that. Okay, so some of you are not, which of course, I mean it was a jury trial, so. But I think a lot of people are agreeing with the not guilty verdict. I mean, so they. Hopefully, you guys can hear me too. Let me see. How can I tell if I can? Oh yeah.
I don't see my live video.
Oh, people are saying hi, Jimmy. So hi, White Angel. I thought I saw.
Why don't I see my video?
Excuse me. Let me see. Hi. I see Linda. Hi, Linda. Guilty as charged. Okay, he was charged, but I'm so we have a opposing view here. I mean,
this is Judy.
Sorry, my dad was playing. Okay, now.
So initially when I first looked at this case, just to let you know, I initially thought that I looked at it from just from a step back and looked at it. That was weeks ago. I didn't look at it the last time, the first trial, but I thought that. Yeah, okay, so they appeared to be all drunk, left to one bar, went to another bar, then they going over to Brian Albert's house, and I figured, they were all drunk, and maybe, plus it was snow, maybe she did back into him, because, let me see who else is here. Yeah, hi, Murder of Crows. I'll keep stopping and saying hello to people, too, here. So, maybe she did, back into him. Initially, I thought that, but I still thought that they were kind of like drunk, and who knows what, it was a terrible accident. But I noticed that it was an elaborate situation that the police were portraying against her. They charged her with murder. I'm like, what? I didn't think she murdered this guy. I mean, it's like they were drunk. And the next morning, actually, when he went to her house, I think she thought. For a second, like she thought that he was like upstairs or something like that. She didn't, it seemed like she didn't recall dropping him off over there. But, I guess eventually she did. Of course, eventually she did. And so.
Push your glasses. I can't see your eyes.
Okay.
I can't see your eyes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, for my glass, I should take them off. I can almost read without these daggum things here. I can. I'll try. If I need to read some of my notes that I've been taking for a while here, where are my notes? Oh, there they are, right there. My notes. Hey, they won't show up. What the heck is it?
No, it's fine if you do that. You can see your eyes. Before you couldn't see them.
Okay, all right. So if I need to read some of my notes, which I probably will, but let me see. So I don't know how much. Let me see. Yes, I do. So maybe she could have done this, but I don't think she would be guilty of murder. I thought that they should have, really had my glasses. I felt they really should have had more of a lesser. They should have charged her with a lesser case, not murder. I mean, it did not seem like that at all. I mean, that she maliciously tried to murder him. And let me ask you guys a question: am I too loud here? Hello, Murder of Crows. Am I too loud? Am I too close to this microphone? Can anybody say anything? Hi, Jen. I'm going to put these glasses back on just so I could and try to keep them up. Hi, Jen. And then so it is good. My voice is good, honey. Honey? Sound is good. Okay, good. So, I initially thought that it was like a drunken night, and maybe she did back into him, and he fell, and he passed, and he passed away there. But the more I start, excuse me, honey, are you yelling to me? The more I listen to it, or watched the trial and looked in some of the facts, then I I started to have doubts, because I have a lot of reasons for doubts. You know, first thing is, why did the
Good, Jimmy.
what, honey? Okay, I'm good. Yeah. So, hello, manager of Three Monsters. Did I miss anybody here too? Maybe nobody yet. Okay, so how could it seem like such a big cover up? Why would they have to cover it up? Or it seemed like they were really trying to frame a what? Think about it, folks. Why did how did Brian Albert at like 2:30 in the morning, and Brian Higgins, who butt dialed each other by accident? It was like I had like a butt dial answer and stuff. I mean, and think about it. I don't know how much you guys know, but they were at two bars, and there's a close knit group of them. Brian Higgins was amongst them, and then you have Brian Albert, who's maybe he's a hothead police officer. I don't know. Some police officers are hothead, no big deal. I've encountered some, but big deal. I know they have to do their job. So, but Brian Higgins is a big guy. He's also a boxer. He also had the hots for Karen, and he had kissed her. And on the stand, on the first trial, he said, how was the kiss? Well, not like a friend, So, I mean, and he was sexually attracted to her. He did say that. And they had texts going back and forth. And he had kissed her, like I said, whatever. And they, so at the bar, Brian Higgins appeared to be having to be held back by Brian Albert. And he also was going, like, telling somebody, come on out here, like, and they were saying it was Brian Higgins. It was over in, Brian, John O'Keefe's trying to call John O'Keefe out there, the guy, the police officer who died. And, maybe, and since they both like the same girl, John O'Keefe was her boyfriend for a long time. And so then he texted, Brian Higgins texted Karen Reed at the part right there before they left and said something about, I wrote down a bunch of stuff here, but I don't think I wrote down what he said. Something about, so what? Like, are you going to go with him, or are you going to come with me, and so then he texted John O'Keefe. The last text John O'Keefe received was from Brian Higgins. It said, are you coming to the Brian Albert's house? Are you coming? And so if there was some altercation, they were going to fight there or something like that. He was calling somebody, trying to call him outside to fight over, Karen Reed. And how do we know? The more I look at this whole thing here and all this big cover up, and I'll tell you why. We could talk about it. Why that when Karen Reed dropped John off, he didn't go start stepping over towards his house, and Brian Higgs come out and pow, pop him, and he fell back on some concrete or one of the steps or one of the ledges there, and did not come to. Because that's what it said. The doctor said he hit so hard that he was not coming out of that. He was going to need medical attention if he was going to, to survive or come out of that. So how do we know that didn't happen? And then, maybe a couple of the cops may have knew. I don't think everybody in the house knew. If that happened, I don't think everybody would have knew about it. How do we know he just didn't drag him over there and say, shoot, what are we going to do? Put him in the snow. I don't know. Maybe he got hit by a plow. Maybe he got hit by a car. And then maybe Brian Albert and Brian Higgins, got this plan, to get some of, maybe somebody noticed that her car had a broken taillight or something like that, or and started hatching this plan. I really don't know, but I will not. After seeing all the cover-ups, between the police, it's like, listen, you guys. I don't know if you saw it, but let's see now, Brian. There's video of. So this happened. We'll say at 12:30 a.m. Let's go with that. There's a timeline thing. With his phone and Karen Reed's vehicle, and it was off. So it's like they took it and moved it over. From mine, the way I see it, aren't all digital. I'll look at my phone right now, and it'll say the same time as your phone, and it'll say the same time as everybody else's phone. Everybody else's car in the vehicle, the phone there. So I mean, it's all. How could one of them be different? I don't think it could be. So, I'm not going to go with it. They're going to take the timeline and move it over. So, but that's beside the point. They, Brian Higgins at 1:30 a.m. was on the security camera at the police, the police station. What was he doing there? He went inside and did some things. Who knows what he was doing? And that's one thing. And he was also on the phone to somebody. You could see the phone lit up. You could say, well, he's faking it, just because he has the phone there. But he was on the phone to somebody. And like I said, Brian Albert had called him, I think once or twice, and so but he said he doesn't. He it was accidental butt dial, and then I think Brian Higgins called somebody, and he was accidentally, a butt dial back. I mean, how? Is that my phone? No. So is it how what kind of coincidence is that? So that's one thing right there. And then so the next morning when it was daylight when they found they all went over the Karen Reed went over with I guess Jimi K and I forgot the other woman's name. And they found John in the snow. And so it came up, the police station. So the dispatcher was going to go down to help out, and with this right here. And he asked this woman, Deaver, what's her name? Her last name is Deaver, Officer Deaver. I'll just say. And so she was going to take over the dispatch, and while the guy that was on dispatch drove over to Brian Alberts, because we got a dead police officer in Brian Alberts who's in the police department. In his yard, and let's make note that nobody ever came out of Brian Albert's house during this, all the noise and the police lights and everything else. Nobody came out of, nobody stepped out of the house there, and nobody went in it also. So when Devers took over dispatch, the FBI questioned her after this all happened. And it was Kerry Robinson. Kerry Roberts was the other girl. It was so we'll say it was 5 a.m. So riddle me this. Appreciate the help in anything we got here. So Justina, hello, riddle me this. So they so while Officer Devers was doing the dispatching, she the FBI questioned her after this, I don't know how long after, and she said that while she was there, she saw, let me see, was it Brian Higgins? Let me see. She saw Brian Higgins testified that she saw Brian Higgins and Officer Higgins and Berkowitz, two police officers, go into the Sally Port right after they brought Karen Reed's vehicle in there. And her quote was that they stayed in there for a wildly long time. That was her quote. So I mean, why would she say wildly long time? She saw that, and then when this trial came along, she wasn't called in the first trial, so she went on to work for the Boston Police Department, and she was working for the Canton Police Department at that time, right around there. So. She was called in as a hostile witness, we'll say, called in by the defense. And the chief of police, or was it the chief? Yeah. The chief of police called her in, or the captain, whatever it is, called her in his office before she went to go testify and said, we support you 100% and do the right thing. So she went and said that it was a false memory, all these things, something to do with the time and all that. She really didn't see any of that. And I mean, they had to dig it out of her. She was actually saying, like, I don't know why I'm on this stand. I mean, this woman looked like she was, so, I mean, really full of crap. It made the police look really bad. But if she implicated Brian Higgins and Berkowitz, it was probably going to be her job. She was also saying that my job depends on what I say up here. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was in this trial right here. The jury saw that. So how are they going to not see reasonable doubt. So if anybody thinks she was guilty and didn't see that, see that now. Look it up. Look up Deaver's testimony, and you'll see why at least there's reasonable doubt. I mean, like, why wouldn't she say they were there? And not only that, there was some footage. She saw them going there. There's also footage in there of Proctor going over by the back tail light there. And so for a while he was there by the back tail light for a while. Now I'm thinking if he's an investigative officer, you could say he was checking it out. So what's the harm there? But this guy, the lead investigator, was fired after this for things that he done during this case. He had a lot of disparaging texts about Karen Reed. He told his buddies about her. He leaked a bunch of stuff about the case. And he was drinking on his job. So they fired him. And how hard is it to get a police officer, Hella Scooter? How hard is it to get a police officer fired? They don't fire him. They put him on administrative leave, or they put him in inside the office there and give him a desk job, but they don't fire him. They fired him. So that's all. This can be so much reasonable doubt against her. Now, we'll talk about the stuff that they should have been able to nail down. To do with the data and there could have been a thing like people may not have understood the data, and maybe there is a way to match it up like that and say that when she did the 3-point turn, an event happened, and he did not travel anymore after that, because there was also, they said he went like 25 yards, which is well over 70 feet, which is about how far the house was. And let me see, is anybody saying anything here about this? Yeah, hello, Scooter again. Deaver was hostile in personality, but she was not technically a hostile witness. Well, I'm not going to say technically she was. I guess you have to, it would have to be a somehow. I don't know the law situation when it comes time to calling a hostile witness, but she was not wanting to give them any information. She said, "I don't know why I'm here." She said, "Well, you don't know why you're here because she told 2 FBI agents that she told them that she saw Higgins and Berkowitz go into the Sally Port and stay in there for a wildly long time that morning." Now, after they brought Karen Reed's vehicle in, she said that, and then she's going to change the story and say, "Well, I didn't really see that." She called it a false memory. She was like, "What the heck is a false memory?" She was mentioning false memory like it's just another thing. Like, okay, well, I kind of turned my head, and that's how she was using the word false memory. I had false memory in there. And I didn't really see it, so I really can't testify about it today and all that. But he still got it out of her, everything that she said, and she was very, very not very forthcoming. Like with trying to give up the information, it was very hard to get it out of her, and she so it just put so much doubt on, it made the police look so bad regardless. Maybe now. So maybe what could have happened if she did say, yeah, they did go in there. That doesn't mean anything. It means it does mean something, but it still looks like they did go in there because she's changed her story, and so there's a and then the thing about doing 24 miles an hour. Now one thing is if your tires are spinning, that thing does not it's called the event data recorder, EDR. The event data recorder that's in that vehicle can tell you, like if you're driving down the road, it'll tell you how fast you're going, when you hit the brakes, how fast did something else hit, did his vehicle slow down before you hit the brakes? It can tell you information like that, but it gathers this information by how fast the wheels are turning. So if your tires are spinning, it is not going to give valid information. If your tires can say they're spinning, it may show up that they're spinning 24 miles an hour, but you might not be going anything, moving anywhere. If they had GPS to add with that, to keep plotting where you are, now maybe that would have helped. But you can't say the vehicle traveled 60 feet backwards with this by knowing that the tire is spun up to 24 miles an hour. That's one thing. Yeah, so somebody said it was like pulling teeth, probably like pulling teeth from Officer Devers. And hello, video reel. So you know, I mean, all that's kind of suspect. That right there. I mean, we don't know just because the tires were spinning 24 miles an hour. That doesn't mean she was traveling at 24 miles an hour. But on the other hand, there was not that much snow on the ground when she dropped them off. It's just a dusting. But if her tires weren't good and it was in snow, they could be spinning. So we have that situation. You know, we can go on. Like we could look at this. If she hit his arm doing 24 miles an hour, I mean, it's think about this. You know, a really fast man can run maybe 20 miles an hour if they're really fast. Like a track star can run 20 miles an hour, not 24. There are some people who can probably run 24. Very, very few in the world. Imagine a guy, like let's say he's 200 pounds and he's running 20 miles an hour. You can try to think about it. I mean, running full speed and you hold your arm out and he hits your arm. I mean, that's going to freaking hurt. You know, I mean, I don't care. It's like, it's like, I don't know, like, it's like going to be like, something hit your arm really hard. It's not like a little push. And if you're not out of the way completely, he's going to knock you for a loop. And imagine a 6,000 pound vehicle if that hit you, you know. And so they showed that in the, ARCA did some tests like that and showed that if it hit an arm doing 24 miles an hour, the back window shattered. They bent the whole thing. I mean, they bent the light was pushed in, broke. And then it showed what it would do if it hit the body, just the arm. It shoved him like 25 feet at least, like down the road. You know, I mean, it really, it didn't. And not only that, there was no bruises on his arm inside. There was no bones broken, nothing. Just those gouge marks, which this dog they had, which had problems before. The dog was an aggressive dog, and it was gone. No more dog. Then they even got rid of it after that too. And so when people went there the next day, nobody saw any dog. So I mean, all this right here, it's like too much reasonable doubt, you guys. I mean, even if she did, the prosecution just messed it up. The things he did during the trial were horrendous. I mean, so after they showed that. If he hit the ground, they put a shirt just like he had on, which is one little shirt. He hit the ground. I mean, and when they hit the arm of the dummy, it skidded across the ground. Had like brush marks and it was holes all in it. And they showed that. And so after that, Hank Brennan, which he needs to just go on somewhere. This guy, I don't know what you want to. He was really not a very good guy. He took. Had the shirt and two pieces of plexiglass and brought it over to the guy that said it would be all skinned up. He goes, and there was holes in the shirt. He said, "Did you consider these holes?" When he held up the shirt, did you consider these holes? And that they were all in the back and all. And he looked at it. He goes, "No," because he didn't, and it made him look bad. And right away, the defense attorney, got the jury out of there and said, "I want this to be, what do you? I don't know if it was a mistrial or one of the charges dropped or whatever." Because Hank Brennan brought that up there, and Hank Brennan's own people, the ones they cut the holes in it to analyze the cloth. There was no holes in it when they took it off him. They cut the holes in it to analyze the shirt, the material, and so he knew what was going on, yet he went up there and tried to, and he did this in front of the jury. So the jury had to come back out there and he had to apologize. "Look, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this, blah, blah, blah." No. I mean, this guy just tried every dirty trick in the book. So, I mean, there's definitely going to be that much reasonable doubt. And yes, so yeah, Sandy, she got a package. I picked it up at the post office today. So I don't know how much of this you guys saw, but I would really, you guys can speak your mind. I mean, and say, you really think she did it? Because she could have done it. I mean, but they messed it up. The prosecution really, I don't know. It looked like, and they spent. Do you know the one guy, that guy named Judson Welcher, I believe his name was, the guy who did the blue paint and then they let the vehicle go by at 2 miles an hour. And he had to hold his arm out there to show that, yeah, it could have hit right here. He charged them like I think it was $328,000, over $320,000 he charged to do all his stuff there. You know, I mean, the ARCA guys, I think it was like 2,500 or 3,000, something like that. So the defense got more bang for their buck. But you know, I mean, it's like it's just a shame. It's such a sad thing, and you know, thank God that that the police didn't get away with all that. You know, they shouldn't have done. They shouldn't have done what they did. It made them look really bad. And if they found her guilty of that, it would have been, you know, people would have been saying, "What the heck kind of justice system do we have?" So that's what I say about it. That's my feeling of it. You know, I mean, she, the judge wouldn't even clarify the jury instruction too well. You know, no. So I'm not going to comment about that. I mean, and the first trial was a mistrial because of that. You know, after the case was over, the jury said that they couldn't understand the jury instructions. They thought that there's no way to convict her of only one of them. They thought he had to convict all three of them, so they couldn't come up with a decision, and it was a mistrial. And that was not the case. You know, they could have picked any one of them. And the same thing was happening this time. They wouldn't, answer it too well. So, I mean, yeah. So, anybody want to talk about this or ask me questions about that? Because, that's just my pick on it. I've been watching the case. I'm sure there's many people who watched it much closer than I did. Hi, Sandy. So I'm looking at people saying hello. And but I have been following it, and I have let me see. There was a bunch of it was just too much craziness. I mean maybe I don't get how it happened or why they didn't get this thing right and collect all the evidence correctly, go in and talk to the people in the house. But it was Brian Albert's house, so they were gonna try to keep it out of there. I guess they didn't want get a fellow police officer in trouble. They figured that they're gonna talk to him later and get all the figure this all out. And so anyway, that's that. I wish a lot of people have a big relief from this. I mean, I feel so bad for John O'Keefe. Do you guys realize he was a really good guy? He was such a good freaking guy. If you follow what he's done, I mean, he's done nothing but good all the time. I mean, and he's he adopted some kids from a family member where something happened there. I mean, he just took them right in like no problem. I mean, this guy was just a really all around good guy. People had nothing but good things to say about him. He would like help you. He was a guy you wanted to have as your friend and be in his radar. He was just a really good guy, and he made people feel good. And so that's so sad right there. But I'm telling you what, from when I saw, I thought that Karen Reed they were all drunk, they're leaving there, and she, backed into him and didn't really remember it maybe the next day too much or something. And, they had a lot of videos saying, well, I hit him. But the morning when she was, the EMTs were saying that one of them, maybe two people said they heard her say, I hit him. And what messed him up is that the guy clearly said, she said 2 times. They asked him, how many times did he say during the first trial? She said it 2 times. I heard her. You heard her? Yes. And then when they were asking him again later, he said, she said it 3 times. I heard her 3 times. So, I mean, the way he was so clear about it, and it was in no police report did they say, Miss, Karen Reed said that she hit John O'Keefe, because it's not in any police report. So maybe she did say it, which is maybe there's a good chance she did. But how come it wasn't in the police report? They should have put it in the police report. There was and then Jim McCabe. I mean, she went with her in the morning, to help find John O'Keefe. But she lied too. The FBI were going to talk to her, and she said, "Well, give me 10 minutes," and she wound up calling a bunch of people, but when the FBI came, she said, no, I didn't talk to anybody. And then she said, well, I just called my husband. And then after the fact, because her whole family is law enforcement officers, after all the FBI left, I don't know if it was that same day or whatever, later on that day, they said, you better tell them exactly who you called. She wound up calling a bunch of people, and they tried to get their story straight. They literally said they were trying to get their story straight. She goes, I just wanted to make sure we had the same story. I mean, like, why? The truth is the truth. So they messed herself up. The prosecution, the Commonwealth, did not do a good job. They tried. They did everything they could, and but there was just too much stuff that made them look bad. Too much reasonable doubt. And I don't know if you guys think the same thing. How many of you here followed this case pretty closely? Maybe put a 1 if you followed it. Put a 2 if you just didn't really follow it much, but because Carolyn couldn't get into it. It's pretty complicated. Hello, Catherine. Hello, everybody. Is anybody, many people follow it pretty closely? How long to die in cold? Jimi K, yeah, she said that. They said that happened at 2:30, but I understand that the one guy said that if you open up something on your phone at 2:30, and which she opened up something checking the scores about some games, and then went to bed, and then woke up the next morning, and then picked up your phone and typed something in. Maybe I understand how that may be the case, that it'll still look like you did it at 2:30 when you first open up that Google search or something or whatever is on the iPhone. So, I mean, it's like I said, Proctor, the lead investigator, was fired. He's hanging around the back corner of her vehicle after they brought it in. They didn't find the glass. So first thing is the other thing. Proctor was out there with a leaf blower blowing snow around until he found the broken glass, and that John O'Keefe came out of the vehicle with. He got out with it because they were out drinking, and she's gonna go home, and John O'Keefe's going over here to party with these guys, or maybe, who knows, to fight Brian Higgins. I really don't know, but Brian Higgins is a big guy and a boxer, so he knew how to throw a punch. And so, anyway, Proctor was taking a leaf blower, blowing the snow, and he found the glass. He also found some blood, so he took it in some old like red, not Dixie cups, the red plastic cups you buy at Dollar General. He filled up 6 of them with some snow and blood, and he put them in a bag that came from a store down the road, a store that with some of us that we've heard of before, a little shop, like a paper bag, and that was his other evidence gathering. Like, why did he? Yes, Catherine, the butt dials. There, like, a couple of them come on, like, I'm gonna answer with my butt. I don't know what the heck they were doing, but while he had that leaf blower there, why didn't he, blow more snow and see if there was some footprints around there to see if something happened, like a scuffle or something? Or are you just gonna go down and get the glass? He didn't really do much. He blew some snow off till he found some blood, and he scooped 6 cups of that up, and then he had it in his car driving around with it and all. I mean, like, and this is the guy that got fired. This is the guy but before he got fired, he got to touch all this evidence. He had like his pants in his back of his car and stuff. I mean, the case was so tainted. And what was Brian Higgins doing at the police station at 1:30 a.m.? He said he went there to go make sure the vehicles were moved for the storm, but they all knew the storm was happening during the day. They knew a big storm was coming, and you would not want to go after you're drinking party and all night long. Then you're going to drive there and say you're going to check, solo cups in a Stop and Shop bag. That's what it was. Thanks, Jen. And he's not going to drive out there to move the vehicles. He would do it before he went out partying, of course. I believe it was on a Friday night. It was on the weekend, and so it definitely was the weekend. And they, I think they said it was Friday night. So I mean, why was he there? Who knows? Why did Higgins and Berkowitz go in right after the vehicle showed up? And that girl Deaver saw them going and staying there for a wildly long time. And then after that, they came. Then they were only 6 miles or 6 minutes away from the police station is where Brian Albert's house was. So I mean, they went right back, and then after that is when they found the broken taillights. That's one thing there. The other thing is, other police officer who was there when he went to tow it in was following him and said he only saw a square piece about the size of $1 missing from the taillight because he was there. He's 100% sure of that, and he said that's what he saw. There's that, and earlier when she was turning around, it showed her on a security camera backing in to John O'Keefe's car on that side right there, and that would probably crack or break that taillight lens. So all this is crazy. I mean, and the dog and the shirt looked like there was holes in it. It pulled a little bit, like you could see something, maybe a dog pulling on him or biting and pulling on his arm. I don't know. I mean, there's too much reasonable doubt, and it makes me really. I normally would think maybe that she did do it. They just couldn't prove it. Initially, I felt that, but when I first started watching the case like weeks ago, but I got to thinking like, wait, why are they covering all this up? What's going on here? And yeah, that doesn't look like you got hit with some, like I one time I had some this is a long time ago. I was at a cotton mill down in North Carolina, and it was like a square thing behind the toilet there, and I got my paycheck. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy, and I just did a little jab like thing with my left hand. Let me see it. Oh no, it's on my right hand. I did a little jab thing and hit a plastic thing behind the toilet there, and it shattered. I'm like, oh crap. And I had like a S cut. I still got the scar there. I had to go get stitches and everything from that thing. So much for freaking being happy about getting overtime. And so it was it wasn't a cut like that, and like straight cuts. And plus those cuts were all over the place. It looked like not like what they said it would look like if the taillight did hit him, and it should bruise him when it hit that hard to break. So all that makes me wonder: did Brian Higgins hit him? Like say, hey, you got a problem with me? Bam, and then John O'Keefe, because there was a scar on his face that was not accounted for. I mean, a bruise on his face. There were black eyes that came from him falling back. When you fall back on your head, a lot of people die that way, and it's just you fall back on something hard on your head there, and that's enough. Just from you standing up and you fall right back on something hard, that's enough to kill you, at least put you out. And if you ever fall back, try not to. Don't let your head hit the ground, guys. And Brian Higgins could have hit him one time, and he went down, and he never did recover. And I'm like, oh my goodness, he's thinking, what are you going to do here? Brian Albert may have helped him. Well, Brian Albert may have known and just didn't want to know. Like if the cops just stick with each other, and and Brian Higgins could have just like picked him up, carried him over there, and put him down. Who knows? I don't know. But I really do have I'm not ruling that out. So, and Brian never came out of the house. Cops all well, right. Brian Albert. When the cops were all out there the next morning, right in front of their house, is a dead police officer in the yard. Nobody ever came out from the house there, and nobody went in. So, and I think Jimi K texted them or called. It showed on her phone she called somebody. And then why did those guys get rid of their phone? The day before they were going to seize them, they go, yeah, well, I just got a new phone. And so one guy, the Brian Higgins, I think he threw his away. Brian Albert got a new carrier and a new phone the next day. So there goes any information on their phone. Can I tell you what this is, guys? I made this kombucha. Not that this is just a bottle. I made it with I have the kombucha, the SCOBY, and you take tea, you black tea, you boil it, and you really make it strong. You leave it in it for like 15 minutes after water boils. Then you take the SCOBY, put some sugar in it, and put the SCOBY in it, put water in it, up to how much kombucha you want to make, and you let it ferment. It turns into like vinegar, sort of like vinegar smell and taste and stuff, which is a good acid for your belly and also a lot of good bacteria for your belly. And then you take it and you mix it with fruit. I used like a third of a cup of watermelon in this one. Like Carolyn took a watermelon and pulverized it and I put a little sugar in, like less than a spoon of sugar in each bottle, a third of a cup of the watermelon juice, and I put a couple drops of mint and filled it up with this. The rest of the stuff that I've been fermenting for 10 days, and then you put up the lid on it real tight and let it that other sugar from the fruit or that you put in there, it starts turning into carbon dioxide and more bacteria and all. And when you want it to stop turning into bacteria, you put in or turn it into carbon dioxide. Otherwise, it'll get too fizzy. Like this is pretty fizzy. You put it in the refrigerator and it stops it, and it's really good. This is good stuff. It tastes like watermelon and mint. It tastes more like mint, sort of, but it's good. So, Jimmy doing happy dance over time, envisioning. Yeah, let me see. The good old boys. Brian never came out of the house. Yep. And Higgins threw his phone away at a military base. Is that crazy? Yeah. Snowy. Snowy movie's mad about this. Yeah, maybe because initially it did look like Hi Snow. It did look like Karen Reed had done that. I mean, but okay, Snowy movie. Do you think she did it on purpose, or do you think she accidentally did it? Because they were, do you think drunk and all that, and she was just backing up? Or you really think that she tried to to floor it and hit him? Because it could be because that is something I really can't rule that out, that she wasn't like mad at him, and they floored it and tried to hit him, So what do you think that she really floored it and initially really wanted to hit him? Because that's what they're saying, and so not on purpose. Okay, so yeah, so they should have, if that's the case, they would have got her for the manslaughter and under the influence, which I think you can get. I don't know, you can get a lot of time for that when you're drinking. If you could, the charge that they got her for, the operating under the influence, if you look at it in Massachusetts, you can get 2.5 years just for that, for the first offense. First offense of operating a vehicle while under the influence, you can get up to 2.5 years. So I can't imagine what can happen if you kill somebody operating. I mean, it's probably could get life or 20 years or something. Yeah, charge too, the middle charge. I mean, they were worried about that, and they were, but I think that they ruined their case by too much nefariousness, going on with the police. Don't you see that, snow remover? The stuff with, I mean, unless the defense just did, not leaving just can't handle it right now. Yeah, it was tough. A lot of people have a lot invested in this case. That's for sure. I mean, I feel bad that for John O'Keefe and his family. Oh my God, man. I mean, he seemed like such a good guy, much better than the police and the prosecution lawyers who. I think John O'Keefe really shined, and he's like a hero. He's really like a good guy. And justice, what is justice? For him, I mean, is there any evidence that something else happened? I don't know. It's a shame. It's sad for him. When you think about it, that's yeah. So Karen Reed, she got off. She's all happy now, but John O'Keefe, his family and all, I mean, like, it's I don't know what they need, It's I don't know how they can get justice. We'll see what happens, but like I said, there's nothing that's concrete in this to me. Except for what's concrete in this is that what we saw on the stand, the police officers from the first trial and this trial, all the covering they did for each other. So just made the case look bad, and I don't understand how Hank Brennan, more will come about witness intimidation. So if that happened, that shouldn't be happening. I mean, nobody should have been intimidated. I mean, they were saying like, weren't they saying that people were showing up with people where if somebody was going for saying Karen Reed is innocent, people were showing up where they work at, or the officers' families. People were showing up talking about they were going to kill them and all, and they should be, even that kid, the one kid that took the stand there, that was at the house right as they showed up, I guess. and they said he was getting all kinds of emails on social media. I mean, it's really bad that people would do this, and yeah. So I bet you some people are going to get charged because they did try to take. What is that guy's name? The turtle guy. They locked him up. Yeah. Hi, Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah. They locked. You're talking. Is Colin? Is that kid, right? He's like in college, second, third year of college, and he said that he had he said people started because he was related to them. People are saying all kinds of crazy things to him online. He had to get offline or whatever. I mean, it's a jungle, And yeah, Turtle Boy was the other guy. They locked him up, but I guess they couldn't because of the stuff he was saying. And I have this something with the same people who feel the same. Yeah, so snow removal. I mean, I know, and I welcome people who are on the other side because there is a whole nother side to it. I mean, at some point in the beginning, I was thinking that she did it. She did it by accident, and she's going to be in trouble for it. And then when I start watching the trial, I mean, like, what the heck? And you start seeing the first trial, it just looked like that they were really they were really messing up the case. They were trying to, they were lying, withholding information. Yes, honey?
Turtle Boy was not locked up for witness intimidation.
Who did?
Look what Riddle Me This is telling you.
Turtle Boy was not? Oh, he was locked up for something different, not witness intimidation. Oh, okay, good. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I guess I was just like caught up with what I was hearing them say. They were like glad he was in jail or something. Then he said they found him not guilty or found no evidence. So I didn't really pay much attention to him. And okay, thanks for riddling me this. A duty with his ex-girlfriend. All right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spread false information. And an incident with his ex and violating restraining order. Okay, all right, good. Sorry about that. Turtle Boy did not do anything illegal so far that he got in trouble for regarding this case. So, but and Aiden, who was Aiden, Catherine? Was that the kid's name? Whatever. I mean, they were. There's a lot of animosity on both sides, and the judge put a buffer zone and made them.
Turtle Boy's real name.
Oh, Aiden is Turtle Boy's real name. Okay, all right, thanks. All right. So, anyway, snow remover. I feel for the people on the other side too. I mean, it's a heavy duty case. So much emotion in it, and so much feeling, and how much is a lot of people having stuff invested in this case. Thoughts and stuff and feelings. And my problem, with I feel that the police messed it up. They try to cover for everybody, but what's really sad is just that John O'Keefe is not here. I mean, and what happened to him? Did he get hit by her? Did he get hit by John Higgins? Because for some reason or other, it looks to me like John Higgins could have came out and clocked him. I mean, at least there's reasonable doubt about all this. There's enough reasonable doubt to throw in a couple of things that could have happened. And yes, she could have maybe hit him, and he tripped over something and then fell back on his head. And then the dog could have came out and pulled on his arm a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, but they surely messed up saying that car, that the taillight broke and that's on his arm and scratched it all up like that, where it did look like an animal had bit in and tried to maybe drag him or something. And so it would have been like perfect cuts if the plastic from I think anyway, if the plastic from the taillight lens broke on his arm, and also it would have hurt him. It would have knocked him back. I mean, think about it. Especially if it was doing 24 miles an hour. So what's all that noise? Honey, what is that? What's my phone? Oh, a dentist. You got the dentist. Or the kids have a dentist. Let me verify the kids are going to the dentist. Hello. Yes, this is Jimmy. Yeah, I'll have him there next week on their dentist appointment. Okay, Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you very much. All right. Yep. Yep. Bye. Yep. Bye. Sorry, guys. Kids have to go get their teeth cleaned. You know. Um. So yeah, it's a lot of emotion. It's sad. I mean, that for me, just about John O'Keefe. Because if you listen to, I didn't even have to look into it. So I didn't really have to look into it. I just listened to what was going on. I mean, and John O'Keefe was a really, really good guy. And people should share that, and, have sympathy for his family. I mean, I don't know. Were all of them set on Karen Reed paying for this? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. You know, what does closure mean for them? Excuse me. And so I don't know what you guys think about that. I mean, if hopefully we hear from the jurors. Yeah, so we'll see what the jurors say if they can. Yeah, the investigation did in the end, so much reasonable doubt was cast. I mean, I mean, and some of the things that Hank Brennan did made him look like he was going too far with trying to prove his case when he shouldn't have held up that shirt and said, acted like that happened. And the guy from Arca didn't see that there were holes in it. And when they did the example, they did the reenactment, and he went skidding across the ground, and his shirt got all skinned up, and there were no holes in his shirt to look like he fell down and was skinned. The only holes in his shirt looked like, if you looked at them, they were sort of like long, like triangular, sort of like, and it was deep here, and it just ripped a little bit here. So it did make me think. If you look at that, it looked like teeth had bit into his arm and pulled, and because that's all it was a little hole and then a pull mark on the shirt on his arm. That's all. There were no other holes in his shirt. And so Hank Brennan brought the shirt up after somebody from his investigating team cut holes in it to sample the shirt, and he acted like so the jury would see there were holes in that shirt. So maybe everything this guy's saying is not right. And and the judge got on, so they got the jury out of there, and they spoke about that right in the middle of the trial. And he said, he had to tell the jury, look, I made a mistake. The holes weren't in there. He had explained to him about that shirt, what he was saying. But yeah, I saw something from Scooter. Maybe she and him didn't realize it being she was drunk. Yeah. That could have happened. I mean, really, she could have hit him, and he could have fell back and bam, and hit his head. That's all it takes, because she didn't even have to hit him hard. Like if you just stand there and fall back on something real hard. But the one woman said it had to be like concrete or something. It was like something porous, and hard, and had a little ridge on it, like maybe a curb or a part sticking up. If you just fall back on that could do it. A lot of people, get pushed back, and they lose their balance, and they fall back on their head, and they pass away. They don't make it out of that, or they get really horrible concussions from that. And so that could have happened, but they put too much stuff in there, and they made it too much reasonable doubt, and that's what we what we got there. And they just kind of they gave her. They found her guilty of the charge of operating a vehicle under the influence. And I think they just wanted to, they had to throw, to me, she could have drank after. They took her, whatever, her breathalyzer, took her blood at 8 or 9 o'clock a.m. She could have, really could beat that in court. You could say, I was drinking after I got back, after 6 o'clock when I went home, I had some drinks in. So, but it is what it is. She got found of operating vehicle under the influence, and found not guilty of the other charges. And it was just a big waste of money. Over $1 million spent on that trial, and for the defense. I mean, for the prosecution, I think, and they got it for a DUI. I mean, you know, I don't want to say Hank has only himself to blame, you know, because he was kind of volatile. He was kind of like you know, abrasive and stuff, and did some things he shouldn't have done. And but actually, in the beginning, before like the trial, they both were doing it, you know, and she admonished the defense team, you know, they were just bringing out crazy emotions all the time, back and forth. But anyway, it's I don't know what you guys think. Let me see. I you know, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more about this. We'll see what the jury says. You know, if we get somebody from the jury, you know, one of the jurors to start talking, and you know, oh yeah. So what am I doing? Riddle me this. No. Brennan did not tell the jury anything to the judge. Jurors to disregard the judge. I can't see. Oh, here it is right here. Let me look at this real quick. No. Brennan did not tell the jury anything. The judge told jurors to disregard information. Okay, all right. So I guess Brennan told the judge he made a mistake, right? I think that's, you know, that's what happened. But yeah. So I mean, he so maybe it didn't look as bad as it was. You know, Brennan didn't look as bad as I thought that he looked to me, to the jurors, because the juror didn't see the interaction between him and the judge and the defense when they called him doing that crap. And but yeah, he should you know, he you know, I just don't think that he covered his bases very well. I mean, he tried to suppress. He got where Proctor wasn't going to testify, and Proctor said that he was going to plead the fifth if they called him up there. I don't know what Brian Higgins, but he didn't call Brian Higgins, and the defense didn't want to, because I think if the defense called him up there, Hank Brennan could have got him to repeat all these wonderful things that happened and all that, and made it look really bad, like get to repeat his case again. So that's why the defense didn't call those two guys up there, the two police officers. Let me see. But yes, he told the judge, but was never questioned the way the defense has been. Bev had no grave concerns and glossed over it. Okay. Bev had so she glossed over what, the situation about the shirt with the holes in it. Riddle me this. I think I have a delay here, hon. So I think there's too many wires it has to get through. Maybe just So riddle me this. You're talking about when he told the judge, but was never questioned the way the defense has been. Bev had no grave concerns and glossed over it. So maybe that was what you're talking about, the shirt situation. Yes, it's a big deal that Brennan did that, but they did act like it was nothing. And you know, she seemed like she seemed. Well, maybe she gave me the impression that she was not, that she was biased against the defense. Maybe because they ticked her off before the trial because of all the emotions or something like that. But how come she was not clear to the jury about you know, maybe they're saying this as clear as they can be, but why did the first jury in the first trial have problems with, she was the same judge, with the jury instructions, and why they were having so much trouble with this one too? You know, I guess maybe it's Massachusetts rules, but you know, I mean, there should have been a way to clarify it more, because I was even kind of confused for the jury, you know, that they would have to, now I got to worry about this. I mean, it's like a big deal here, the way it's like a rubric, you know, you have to follow. So anyway, I guess I think, I don't know what else I could talk about here. Just giving my pick on it. I don't see anybody else have other ideas. I mean, snow removal, I'm sorry that did you see the beginning Right. Modern's defense accused them of misconduct for using the Signal app. Yeah, I saw that. And ARCA, so, okay, so they had grave concerns about ARCA. Why? Because the defense hired them, I think. Is that why? So, and I got to wait a little bit. Sorry that, like, we're not on a different time zone. It's just, let me see. It's going to take a while for me to see. But yeah, so I know that she accused the defense of they used the Signal app, and they knew that whatever they were talking about was going to be deleted, and so I mean, that's the problem, that she had with the defense. That's one of the problems. They had other problems too. Let me see if I'm waiting for to see what because Riddle Me This seemed to follow this trial really close, and yeah, Bev wanted it her way and no other way. She just is incapable of it. Very concerned. Yeah, that's what I say about Bev. I don't like the way she. If it was going to be a mistrial, I mean, it's going to be like her fault. I thought, because you were not clear to the jury. You were not clear last time to the jury. That's why you had a mistrial in the first case, and she was just letting it happen again. And so because I was thinking maybe she felt like the defense put up enough case to find her not guilty, so she's not going to be real clear to the jury, and maybe it'll be a mistrial, and at least Karen Reed would not be found not guilty. So I mean, I don't know if that's my thinking. Maybe Bev may have been thinking that, but even though, like, I shouldn't be thinking that because judges, judges are supposed to be judges and good, but it did seem kind of odd the way Bev was running the show. Hi, Linda. And so I guess I guess that's it. Honey? Honey? Honey?
Yeah.
Should I stop now?
Are you done?
I think so. I mean, I don't, me and Riddle Me This can go back and forth a little bit, but the chat is such off time here. I mean, it's and I think I'm done.
That is what?
Huh? The chat is like, you say something and you got to wait like 5 minutes for the response.
Oh.
Yeah. So Google last year trial and how Bev behaved when Jackson expressed concern over verdict form. She was so rude. That's when I said something is wrong. Yeah, I mean, that rude. That it's like she's trying to, confuse the jury, and so it's crazy. Yeah. So anyway, so I think I'm done, you guys. I would like to go on, but I so it's I want you guys. If you guys, I feel bad for snow removal. She seem to have a lot invested in this, and if it's because of John O'Keefe, passing. I mean, I understand that, and she says that, she didn't really think. She thought maybe possibly Karen Reed was drunk and accidentally hit him, and that's still bad. If you're drunk and you accidentally hit somebody, you should go to jail. But they didn't prove it, and that's it. So let's see what they do to her for the. They may if they throw the maximum at her for that charge for operating a vehicle under the influence, you can get up to 2.5 years. That's what they can give her. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's have to leave. Okay, so I'm going to go to Jimmy. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, sir, very much, very much. It's a pleasure to me too. To talk to you guys about this, and yeah. So I usually don't get that invested in the trials, but this one I did. And Carolyn didn't, because it was complicated. Anybody, Riddle Me This. It's complicated.
We have a brand new true crime at 12:30 with a police interrogation.
Okay, so we have a brand new true crime at 12:30 tonight with a police interrogation. So thank you for saying it's been a pleasure, manager of 3 monsters and all this. So I guess I'm going to shut this thing down. And 12.
Second, I'm writing something in the chat.
Oh, Carolyn's writing something in the chat. 12:30 a.m. tonight. I think is there a auction, honey?
Auction at 10 o'clock.
Auction at 10 o'clock. Come buy something or sell something. How about that? Try to sell anything. And Pamela, yeah, thank you for commenting on that. My point of view. Thanks for saying that.
Pamela.
Yeah. So thanks a lot. And yeah, it is complicated with a lot of information. You could see that how somebody would get like, oh my God, I can't pay attention to this trial, because it was really so much going on. And the attorneys were dragging it out. When they have emotion, it's like they were saying, asking the same question almost over and over again about every little tiny thing. And oh my God, it's like, come on, guys, we hurt you. So yeah. So the trial was drug out really bad, and so Carolyn, to see you guys. Hopefully, you guys come to the auction, sell something. Go see at 12:30. Carolyn has another case with a police interrogation. So goodbye. I love you all. And let me see how to shut this thing out. There's a mouse right here. So I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna end the stream. And goodbye, everybody. Good night. Honey, it's pouring down rain again here. So goodbye, everybody.
She was already sentenced 1 year probation.
Oh, she was given a year probation. Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
Good for her. Yeah.
Operating a vehicle under the influence.
All right, that's it. So she was given 1 year probation, everybody, for that operating the vehicle, and it's all done and over with. There you go. And maybe there's going to be a civil thing. Who knows what is going to happen here? I don't think they want to drag this out again. I mean, it's we'll see. But I love you all. You guys have a good night. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your great comments. Thank you for encouraging me. And I'll see you.